Warning: the following podcast has been rated listener R due to strong language, violent situations, drug references, sexual innuendos, and who knows what else. Listener discretion is advised. With that being said, hang on, sugar tits, because we're about to get wobbled.
What's going on, guys? It's Clayton Wobble Elliott back with the Let's Get Wobble podcast. Today we have a new guest on the podcast. I'm super excited. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, dude?
What's up, guys? My name's Camden Elliott. I'm Clayton's brother. He's been trying to get me to get on these podcasts ever since we started. So today's finally the day that he convinced me into getting her done, and we're here and gonna share some stories.
Yeah, for sure. And what I wanted to talk to you about too is you didn't think that I would be successful in the podcast game. I've had this idea going for a while now, and I didn't really ever get the ball rolling until recently. And you said you just didn't think anything was going to come about it.
Well, the only reason I thought that was because I watch a lot of big podcasts, a lot of bigger guys. I'm big into YouTube. I don't watch TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. And I keep up on that stuff. I see who's going big out there. I see what they're all doing, and it is hard to start a new channel or something. Start something new, and it's hard to get big and get out there. And then Clayton finally told me, "Hey, I'm starting to get a lot of viewers. I'm starting to get pretty big." And
Which, I mean, big in our area. I think I looked at my analytics and I've got a total of 300 plays altogether on all my episodes, which isn't bad for this area.
no, and I guarantee when you first started, you'd never even thought that you'd have got that far.
No, absolutely not.
But so, what do you want to talk about tonight, Clayton?
So let's start out with the same kind of thing we've been doing through the last couple times that we've done this podcast. Why don't you sit back here and tell me what grinds your gears? Try to pick your brain a little bit.
Oh, it's a tough one. I'm not really sure. It's He told me to think about it for a little bit, and I still really haven't pinpointed it out what really grinds my gears. But I know one thing is when we're at work or something and people are lazy. You know, we go to work, and for what I do, I'm a welder and I'm a fabricator. We work all night. I'm on third shift, and we work for pipeline. We have to stay constant working 10 hours a night, and we have to work as best as we can. I used to work with a guy that would just slack off. He'd put his work in everybody else's hand. He'd take 45 minutes, measure in two posts, and it just, oh my gosh, it grinded my gears so bad. And we was all getting blamed for it because shit wasn't getting done.
Yeah, I can attest to that too. If you're getting paid to do a job, you might as well do the job while you're there. And when you slack off, not only does it put them behind, but it puts everybody else behind, especially if you're waiting on
Yeah, we work as hard as we can trying to get this shit done. And when somebody's just not doing their part, it's screwing everybody.
it. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, it's hard to find good people to work with, and when you do, a lot of times they have other goals in mind too, so they may not stick around very long if they have something else open up. So that good partner that you had may not stick around, or you might find something different. You switch jobs, the next thing you know, you're with a whole crew that slacks.
Yeah.
So I can
But
understand how that would really grind your gears.
another thing that grinds my gears also is I'm a paranoid freak. And you can ask Clayton, he's my brother. So I hang out with a lot of my friends, and we like to go fast, not gonna lie. But when somebody tells me get in the back seat, that ain't happening.
You like to be in control of the
I
situation.
like to be in control. I'd rather be driving, and because I know what's going to happen is we're gonna go fast. and it ain't gonna be the safest choice in the world. I at least like to see what's going on and prevent from what's gonna happen.
Well, I'm not. I kind of grew out of that stage too, just because I'm like, you know what, this shit just ain't for me. But I had that stage, and you'll grow out of it eventually. But it's just one of those things in life where you live it, and you realize that one of these days this stupid shit's gonna catch up with me.
Yeah, and see that's where me and you differ because you're what, 25? I'm 20 years old, about to be 21, and you know, I ride four wheelers every weekend. If I'm not working, me and my buddies are out riding, drinking, having a good time, and that's just what we do. It's what we've always done. Clayton's different, a little bit different breed.
A lot of people ask because they know that I have a brother. Like, so tell me about your brother. Is he anything like you? And I always tell them not at
Fuck
all.
no.
Camden and I are completely different people.
Yep.
So
And every time I show somebody a picture of you, my brother, they're like, "That ain't your fucking brother. We look nothing alike."
no, you
But
got all of mom's good genes. I got all of dad's bad genes, and mom's side of the family's bad genes.
I got the hair and you did.
Yeah, I got the looks though. But anyway,
I doubt that.
nah, I don't think so. Anyway, so it grinds my gears. I was thinking about it actually as we were driving up the road. We're here at my mom's house, so we're actually in her home office recording the podcast. We are getting a little wobbled. We're having a few drinks, just hanging out. Obviously, we're not smoking because I'm not going to smoke at my mom's house. But on our way up here, you decided it was a good idea to get somebody up who works on second shift normally. Yeah, you got me up at 5:30 this morning.
Yeah. So
I am nowhere near ready to get up at that point.
and you got to bed what, 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, like I normally do.
Yeah. So I work third shift, and I normally leave my house around, so I don't know, say 4 o'clock, 4:30, and I clock in at 6 p.m. And I I get off work at 4:30, and normally me and a good buddy of mine, we have what Clayton does is a Boy Scout meeting, and I'll stay for about 5:30. But I knew Clayton said he wanted to go to mom's this weekend, so I drove to the house and got home, and I walked in the door and I busted his door open. And I said, "All right, morning, beautiful, let's go." And he was not having it.
Kicked the lights on me. I was dead asleep. I didn't even hear the door come open. The lights come on and it bugged me. And you're standing there in your uniform. Well, you're not in your uniform, but your work clothes. You're like, "Let's go, beautiful." And I'm like, man, I ain't fucking close to being ready yet.
And the first thing he tells me before he's even coherent and ready to go, he's like, "You're buying breakfast."
I had to get
And
the
it's
morning
my
fuel
it's
in me.
my dinner time.
And
But
who wound up buying breakfast?
you did because yeah,
Because you fell asleep on the way here.
I did. I was tired.
Should have made you drive.
I told you. I told you I'd drive because once I knew I was gonna fall asleep, it was game over from there.
But what I was saying was what grinds my gears is when I was driving up here. Now, I have a CDL background, so I've also driven bigger trucks before too. But what grinds my gears is people lacking common sense on the road. Stevens and I talked about our hate for people who lack common sense, but people who get behind the wheel, especially that early in the morning, super foggy outside, couldn't hardly see anything in front of us. It just, the common sense that people lack when they get behind the wheel just baffles me. We were coming up and somebody's in the left lane and it's hard to see because, I mean, there's like even the big green street signs up above on the interstate is telling you to get off on a certain exit. I thought I had a burp coming, but I think it's stuck down in there somewhere. Come on, old girl, get up high. There we go. That was good. Man, I feel better now. Anyhow, but yeah, somebody in the left lane sees their exit. I'm in the right lane. They're passing me, and all of a sudden they cut in front of me, get off the interstate all in one quick move while it's foggy. And I just sit there and shake my head. I'm like, this is crazy. But believe it or not, when I was in college, we were taking a class, not for CDLs, but driving heavy equipment and stuff like that. And one of my instructors told me, he said, you always have to anticipate that whoever is driving beside you, in front of you, or behind you is the world's dumbest driver. Expect them to do the unexpected. That way you're ready for it when they do it. And I can't tell you how many times that saved me. I mean, I've been in accidents before. Luckily, none of them have been my fault, but I've been in some accidents. People just pulling out in front of me in a huge garbage truck that weighs 40,000 pounds full. Just people doing absolutely ridiculous, crazy things. And I understand, like, accidents happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect, but Jesus, I mean, you get behind the wheel, you're putting anybody's life on the road in your hands
Yeah.
at that point.
And see, now that's the thing you had just mentioned, like a car coming up behind you, and they know their exit's coming up, and they pass you, and they jump right in front of you, and then they get right over on their exit. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I thought about that for a minute. I said, man, I do that a lot.
I've done that from time to time because I don't know where I'm at. I go to pass somebody, I'm like, oh fuck, there's my exit. Which, like I said, I'm not perfect. I've done stupid things on the road before, realized it, and was like, wow, I fucked up. That was fucking stupid of
Well,
me.
see, it's not even that. Like, with me, I do it at night on my way home because I know my exit's coming up. I'm ready to go home, and I'm behind a semi or something, and I'm thinking, I can make it. I can get around this truck, get in front of him, and then get off at my exit. I don't want to sit behind him and wait, an
Have to
extra.
hit the brakes and slow down.
Exactly, yeah, because
No, that's stupid.
I've got my cruise set for 75, and he's going 60, and I'm thinking, I have a chance. I can get around him.
Yeah, but that's where you do stupid shit and you play stupid games, and eventually you'll win a stupid prize.
I like winning prizes.
Not stupid ones.
We're gonna find out.
But yeah, I was thinking about that, and I was like, that just grinds my gears sometimes that people do some stupid shit like that behind the wheel. But that's just me. Like I said,
And
I'm
I'm
not
not
perfect.
saying I do a lot of stupid shit behind the wheel. Now, granted, yes, I've had my fair share of speeding tickets and seatbelt tickets. I used to own a nice fancy car. I'd take out to car shows, and I thought it was top shit. And
It's a good thing we didn't air outside because there comes the train.
dude, I'm telling you, it was chilly outside.
It was very chilly
I
out,
went
but it's
outside.
hot as balls in here.
Yeah, but the window's open and
I'm fixing to take this shirt off at the first break we have.
easy now. You ain't that wobbled yet.
Not yet, but man, it's fucking hot. I'm sweating my ass off.
I
in
feel
here.
pretty comfortable.
I think my heart rate's probably up just for being so fucking hot.
Them freaking Bush Light apples need to hurry up and get chilly. This twisted tea sucks.
Kristen
Yes.
loves twisted tea. She's
Oh,
all about
I quit
twisted teas.
drinking them. It kept giving me heartburn like something
Really?
awful. Yes.
She loves them.
Heartburn, and I'd lay in bed and I get the hiccups.
She likes the half and halves though. Her favorites.
Yeah. So I used to be a big twisted tea drinker, and I'd just go buy the party pack. I didn't know which kind I wanted. And
Mister, I'm only 20, and then all you've talked about has been drinking on the podcast.
I'm not gonna lie, I like my beer. I turned 21 in 2 months. We'll be all right
You're
then.
still illegal.
I don't mean nothing. It ain't illegal till you get caught.
Yeah, you live by that law.
I
Too
do.
many times. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, like I said before, I
So-
like winning prizes.
We were talking about some work experiences and stuff before we got on, and I wanted to tell people you worked with me when we worked for the trash company together.
Yes, that was actually my first job.
Yeah,
I
it was
had
my
ever-
first job.
Yes, and our grandfather used to work there, and I remember this specifically, him telling me he didn't think I could do it. Just because, he would hate to see me do that kind of work.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was a disposal company. We worked trash truck. And let me tell you what, me and Clayton could probably do 5 podcasts in just trash truck stories, or trash truck stories. Sorry, guys, I'm sick. I just got off of sinus infection. I'm still healing a little bit, but yeah, me and Clayton have so many trash truck stories that it's not even funny.
We had a lot of fun doing that, and I think that eventually we'll bring the story back around. But the point that I want to get through all these stories is no matter what you do for work, even if you're in Stevens and I's profession now, or doing whatever you're doing, you eventually have to have some fun on what you're doing,
Oh, absolutely.
or you're not gonna enjoy your day. Why go through an 8-hour day and just be miserable? Exactly. The words I was gonna say was miserable.
Yeah, and that's why I really think that I had stuck out with Bucky's the longest. Now, granted, I was making shit pay at that job, but now, granted, me and you are brothers. We did have our falling outs when I worked there,
Absolutely.
but that's with everybody. That's what you get with working with your brother. You grew up with him. You know that person, and you're gonna have falling outs. But honestly, I wouldn't have rather worked with anybody else.
We did. I had a lot of fun while we were there. We didn't do stupid shit, but we had a lot of
Yes,
fun
we did.
on the trash route. I mean, throwing trash cans as hard as or not trash cans because I don't want to hurt anybody's property. Throwing trash bags as far and as hard as we could to the trash truck and making games out of shit.
Now, do you remember the time when it was snowing
I
outside?
already know where you're going with this story. Go ahead, tell it.
It was a nice, cool, breezy, 0 below morning. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it was cold. There was a lot of snow on the
It
ground.
was very cold.
And
it
we
was
were in a back
icy.
alley.
Yes, nobody was out. It was early in the morning, and a lot of these kids where we pick up trash like to sled ride, and it was coming close to the end of winter, so everybody's getting rid of their broken sleds and everything that they just buy for winter. And Clayton pulls up to the trash, and I see this sled. It's split in half, it ain't worth nothing. And so there's a camera on the back of the truck, so Clayton can see me 24/7. If I'm on the back of the truck, he can watch me do whatever. So I grabbed this sled, and on the back of that truck also there's a winch to hook up dumpsters to. Well, that was my pull rope. So I grabbed this sled, and at first I sit down on it because I didn't know how fast Clayton was gonna go, because I know he likes to boot, scoot, and boogie. But I sit on this sled, and I know I made eye contact in the camera, and I guarantee I could just see Clayton's face smile. And I hear the air brake release, and I said, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble." And Clayton just takes off.
I didn't go that fast because it was a snow-covered road, but I gave you a little speed on the sled till the next stop.
Oh yeah,
I was just afraid once I got going to that speed, I'm like, man, when I hit the brakes, he's not stopping unless he puts his feet out and he's going underneath the
go
trash
right
truck.
underneath the truck. So we get to the next stop, and I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't bad." So I decide, well, let's stand up. So I stand up. Clayton takes off again, and then this is after we load the trash. I'm not just stopping at stops and saying, "Nah, screw it." But Clayton takes off, and sled goes, and I go, and I end up on the ground.
It was a good time. I remember that.
Oh my goodness.
I also remember the time right around fall time. If Camden wanted to talk to me while he was on the back of the truck, he couldn't. He had to stand on the driver or passenger side step as I was going up to the next stop, and I never had a problem with that. But he got up on the passenger side step, and I had the windows up because it was still cool in the morning, and I didn't want to roll the windows down. It was still a little chilly. And for those who don't know, I'm also fat, so I like it normally being cold, but it was way too cold outside to have the windows down. I had a hoodie on in the truck. So I come up, and you kept tapping on the window and bugging the shit out of me. So I finally just cracked the window a little bit. And you stuck your finger of your glove inside the trash truck.
Oh.
And I rolled the window up, and it stuck your glove in the truck. Now your finger didn't get stuck in the window, but just your glove did. And I remember you pulled your hand out and just made this face. And I'm so glad that my phone was close to me. So I grabbed my phone, hurried up, opened it, took a picture of your face. And it was hilarious. I don't know why, but I laughed so hard.
Yeah,
about that.
I have that picture somewhere
I've
in
got
my
it in my
camera
phone.
roll.
I look at it every once in a
Yeah,
while.
but that was funny.
We did oh man, we had a lot of fun.
Oh, I think we did more goofing off than we did working.
Well, we got the job done.
Yeah, we got the job done, but we made the best out of it.
Oh yeah.
And that was the fastest 8-9 hours I had ever done in a day.
Yeah, because like I said, when you're having fun, time seems to fly by. And time always flew when I was with you, unless we were having our off days. But I mean, we had a lot of fun hanging out. And then there were times we didn't have a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, but that, like I said, we are brothers.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the time I set a 10-yard dumpster on your foot.
Oh, that's a good story.
A full 10-yard dumpster. There's a lot of trash, a lot of weight.
So, when you guys think of a 10-yard dumpster, go to a big company and go look at their trash. It is a big, giant metal box that holds
10 cubic yards of trash.
10 cubic yards of trash. And there's probably 5-6 ton in that.
Nah, that's not that much.
Well,
because that would be half of our day. But there's I don't know how much it would weigh. It's hard to tell. But I mean, this place had a lot of cardboard, which is heavy when you put a lot of broken down cardboard in it. A lot of plastics. I remember it was a plastic plant.
Yeah.
But I could not back my truck directly into the dumpster. And with a trash truck like that, you have to be perfect in line with the dumpster and have it perfectly sitting up against the back of the truck, or it doesn't line up correctly and the trash won't dump.
Yeah, and mind you, this is our first stop in the morning.
It's like our third or fourth. I
Third
know
or
we picked up
any
a few, but yeah, it
yeah,
was early in the morning
or
still.
very like 6 o'clock in the morning. Not some people that's not really that early, but
For us, I mean, we started at 5 o'clock, six
yeah.
o'clock that day. So
And I'm tired, just getting my day started, and we're just having. You already know it's going to be one of those rough days when nothing's going to go right.
it's a Friday too, and I knew
Yeah,
our Fridays were easy days, but at the same time they were long days because it was payday Friday. You're ready to get off. You're ready for the weekend.
yeah, and that Friday route, I mean, gorgeous route. I absolutely love
Yeah,
that
we were
route.
down by the lake for the most part of the day.
Yeah, backside of the lake where all the nice houses are. It's just a good day. But that first 15 minutes just didn't go as planned.
Right.
Well,
I couldn't get back directly up to the dumpster, and there is one way that you can do it, but you have to hook the winch cable up and slowly inch the dumpster closer to the truck, and then swing it over so it can get lined up with the truck.
and I've done this 1,000 times.
Thousands of times, but it is very dangerous, as we now know. So this dumpster in particular, I knew was heavy, and I knew that if you dumped it too fast, you would overflow the hopper, and the trash just wouldn't run through like it was supposed to. There's different things you can do to make your job easier on the trash truck. So I would always run this particular dumpster. So Camden was trying it while I was still in the truck. That way, I didn't have to set the brake, get out, whatever, just do more steps. He wasn't able to get it, so I pull forward, back up to it again. I set the brake and I get out of the truck, and I'm trying to coerce this dumpster into the back of the truck. And the back of the dumpster lifts up off the ground maybe 6 inches or so.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a foot off the ground.
No.
So I'm winching it. I realize it's not coming. And I look back at you because when you work with somebody long enough, you can tell what they're about to do normally. Like if something's not going right, or you know your partner like that. In a situation, you normally know what your partner's about to do. So I looked over at you and I thought you were far enough away from the dumpster. So I set the dumpster down, the back of the dumpster slammed on the ground, and you immediately screamed bloody murder. Get it off, ow, Clay, ow. So I lift the dumpster back up and I go around and check on you, and you're hobbling, not even able to put any weight on your foot at all. And I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And I'm
Yep.
hoping he can just shake this off. But
Now, mind you guys, where we worked at, it was mandatory to wear steel toe boots, lace up.
yeah,
So when this dumpster fell on my foot, I had steel toe boots on, and when it had came down, it smashed the steel onto my foot.
and it was just I got him to sit down, and I'm trying to, oh, you'll be all right. It's all good. It's just, it's all good. Just try to walk on it, whatever. Well, he couldn't put any pressure on it at all. So finally, he wanted to take his boot off. We took his boot off, and it was a hassle getting that off because obviously the steel was pinching his toes. So trying to get the boot off to take a look at his foot, and when we got your foot that foot out of that boot, it was already bruised. And I thought, oh fuck.
Swollen, bruised.
So we called the company, and I'm like, hey, listen, this is what just happened. We need somebody to take him into the emergency room because it's not looking good. He's not able to put any weight on it, and it's the beginning of the day. So it's not like it's just something he can just ride out for the rest of the day.
Yeah. And I specifically remember this too. I had felt horrible because like I knew you didn't mean to do it. You felt bad. And I remember getting into the emergency room. Now, mind you, every morning we always on that Friday route we stopped at McDonald's. You know where I'm going with this?
Yep.
We stop at McDonald's to get food. And normally, early in the morning I don't eat everything. I'll pick throughout the day. So I had probably got a couple breakfast sandwiches or whatever. And after all this had happened, my mother had actually came and got me from where we was, and we went to the emergency room.
No, Joe took you to the
Oh,
emergency room,
oh
and
yeah,
Mom
yeah,
met
yeah,
you
yeah.
at the hospital.
Yeah, I met Mom at the hospital because I remember Joe telling me, "Well, if you shouldn't have been under the dumpster, or if you wouldn't have been under the dumpster, this wouldn't have happened." But
Joe's the mechanic at the shop. He's
yeah,
a great dude,
very
very
funny
funny.
guy,
Yep.
hilarious. But I get in the emergency room, and once me and Mom get all checked in, and I get settled in, I call Clayton, and he's real upset. And then Clayton always has a good way of changing the mood if nothing's going right. And I remember him going, "Hey, I hope you didn't want those breakfast sandwiches because I already ate them."
Yeah, it was the first thing. because I was in the truck. I already had trash on from my Thursday. So the reason why that day was so long was because I had to finish getting my truck full, then I would go dump it and then technically start my residential side. So we were doing all commercial stuff in the morning is why it was kind of a rough start to the morning. But I remember when I went up to the dump, I looked over and I saw his sandwiches sitting there and I'm like, well, fuck, he's not going to eat them. So I might as well fucking eat them. I
That's
called him and I was like, hey, I hope you didn't want those sandwiches because they're already gone.
that's the fat boy in you.
But yeah, I was trying to make light of the mood and just try to get his spirits up because I did. I felt horrible. And not only did I feel horrible for him because, that was my fault. I should have made sure he was away from the dumpster. I could have prevented that, but accidents do happen. Um,
Hey, I'm not complaining. That was 2 weeks off work. I got paid for free.
yeah, well, luckily you didn't break anything. I'm so surprised you didn't break anything in your
Yes,
foot.
it was. I forget what it was.
They said a deep bone contusion.
Yes, I remember that now. But my God, that
But
was
then I,
some
I
of the.
was pissed off too because I'm like, fuck, I had help for all 8 hours of the day, and now I'm by myself, which is now is going to take me 9.5. So I was kind of pissed off about it, but I was like, well, shit, I got through the day and I checked up on you. I think you were back. Were you at mom's house or were you at the house?
I was at Dad's.
Yeah.
Because I remember like when I went back to work, Dad's like, "We're gonna have to go get you a new steel toe pair of boots." So we went all the way to Charm, like 2 hours away. And I remember this because I was still in crutches, and Dad wanted me to go try on boots. I'm like, "Hey, bud, how's this gonna work?"
Right. Use my good foot.
Yeah,
But yeah, now I do remember that.
yeah, because I ended up buying a pair of steel toe boots, and then I bought like a brand new $500 pair of Twisted X's.
Yeah. Yep.
Something I can't live without.
But things. What the fuck?
What?
Why does mom have a colored picture of two turtles fucking in her fucking office? All you need is love in the beach, and it's a two turtles humping on the beach.
She likes turtles.
I guess. Jesus.
She's also got the frog picture I painted in I painted in high school.
Yeah, that's a pretty good frog. I was not good in art class.
Dude, that is chalk paint. Or no,
It's just regular chalk.
no, it's not chalk. It's oil-based chalk.
Hmm.
Its shit is fucking messy.
Come on with that shit all over your hands.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of black on it too.
But yeah, we had a lot of good work experiences. Some bad, but most good.
Yeah.
What about Pap? Do you have any good work experiences with Pap?
Yeah. I mean, he never really said much. He was old and always liked to get
Do things his way
Yeah,
too.
oh my goodness, yes. Me and him had a couple I only think we had one bad falling out.
Because
No, that
I was never opposed to trying something different to see if it would feel like our day would go by quicker.
yeah.
You change a couple things, you pick up different trash at different stops. Our company never did like that because they tried to get people on a schedule. But as a driver and a loader, I mean, we're going to try and do things our way to see if they work better for us.
Yeah.
As a customer, they tell you, at least for our company, they told you to have your trash out at 6 a.m., whether your trash got picked up at 6 a.m. or if it got picked up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
just in case we were to do things a little different. But, I mean, we just tried to make the best of it and for us. But my grandfather was set in his ways. That's the way he learned that route fucking 20 years ago, and that's the way he was going to continue to run it because that's the way it was taught to him. And he's got a very valid point. When you start changing things up like that, you might miss a street. I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I missed a street. We got to go back and get that street.
And he was bad about it too. Like if I moved the dumpster wrong or flipped the lid back before he had it hooked up, he wasn't having it.
Really?
Yeah. But we always spend time with your grandpa.
Yeah. That was a good thing about being a loader too, is you got paid to sleep if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Once we were on our way up to the dump, you slept a lot on me on the way up to the dumps.
I know, and every time I'd fall asleep on Pap, he'd be like, if I can't if I can't sleep, you can't sleep.
I used to pick on you all the time because Pat used to do it to me back when I was a loader before I got my CDLs. He would do the same thing. He's like, nope, you can't sleep if I can't sleep. Now, every once in a while, he would let me sleep, but other times he would pull your arm hair while you were sleeping or
Oh yeah.
go off on the rumble strips and scream or there was slam on the brakes.
Yeah.
I mean, just all kinds of funny shit that got him won over. But
Yeah. And that was the awesome thing about working with Clay too, is as soon as we were done, I was asleep. I hopped in that truck. Now, granted, Clayton had picked on me a couple times, but I always got to sleep.
I would let you sleep because I remember what it was like for me being a loader. As a
Yeah.
driver, you don't have to get out at every stop. At a loader, you have to get out at every single stop, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Unless there's a couple bags and I say, hey, don't worry about it, I'll get it.
Yeah. Now, I just thought of this. Do you remember the time? Now, granted, when we're out on the trash route, we can't stop and eat at, restaurants or anything like that. It's either you pack your lunch or you buy gas station food
And you eat as you go.
and you eat as you go. Now, I remember it specifically because Clayton thought this was the funniest thing in the world. Now, you don't know where I'm going with this yet.
I don't.
So, I remember we stopped at a gas station for lunch because me and Clayton was both running late, and we're like, "Yeah, we'll just buy lunch." So I forget what I got, but we hit 8, and we were probably 3 stops in. I told Clayton, "All right, go to the gas station. I gotta go." So we get to this little rinky-dink gas station, and Clayton pulls up, and I remember looking at the doors, and they're locked.
I remember the
Yeah.
story. Here we go.
I hated you. So I go in to the gas station, go get the key, and I come out, and there's a men's room and a ladies' room outside of the gas station. Like I said, little rinky dink gas station. I use the key to unlock the door, and I go in, and Clayton, I shit you not, nothing. The toilet, the urinal, everything was disconnected. There wasn't even a sink in there. And all over the walls.
Just an empty room.
Yeah, all over the walls it said out of order. And I'm thinking, this ain't good. Because this is the only gas station around. So Clayton thinks it's funny. I walk out and I immediately turn left and go right into the woman's room because I had to go. And Clayton, all of a sudden, as soon as I come out and finish my business, I look up in the truck and I see a camera. Clayton's recording me walking out of the ladies' room, and he's like, I get in the truck and he goes, "What's wrong? Men's room wasn't having it?"
Oh, I remember asking you. I was like, "You really went to the women's?" He's like, "Bro, I had to go." And I said, "Tell me what happened, bud." He's like, "The men's room was out of order, so I went into the women's room and I blew that motherfucker up."
I wasn't scared.
I laughed so hard about it.
Yep. A lot of good times.
There really was, man. I'm trying to think of some more trash truck stories because I know
Remember-
there's so many.
You remember when the road was closed? They had it blocked off with cones. He told me to get out and move all the cones so we could get through the alleys.
I mean, because if I were to call my boss, it was a lose-lose situation. 'Cause he would tell me, go as far as you can, and then if the road's really tore up, then you'll have to back out. But I'm not going to back up this whole road. It's just a pain in the ass. So I'm going to find my way around. But yeah, my pap used to do that. There would be road closed signs out on a state route. He'd be like, "Hey, get out and move them signs." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's illegal." He's like, "Hey, we got to get the trash." I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. People don't really think about it. Trash is a never-ending thing.
No, there's plenty of job security in the trash business. That's for
Yes.
sure.
If
People
you-
will
if
always
you-
have trash.
If you're looking for a job and you're desperate, go find a disposal company.
Man, I remember there was days where there was 8 inches of snow on the ground, 9 inches of snow on the ground.
Level 3 emergency.
Our boss would tell us not even to come into work until he'd give us a call, and it'd be 9 o'clock before we'd even get the truck started and start brushing the snow off just to see if they would get out and clear the roads. But I think the whole time I was there, on and off total, because I worked a lot of summers back when I was in school, and then I worked there full time for probably 3 or 4 years. I think there was maybe 3 times, maybe, that we didn't work.
Yeah.
And then had to double up. We would have to work on a Saturday just to get caught up, which it was
Yeah.
nice to have the day off. But then at the same time, you're like, man, I got to work Saturday just to get caught up.
And you wouldn't believe, you miss one day, all that trash, all that extra days worth of trash, you would not believe.
Oh, it's crazy. Christmas time was the worst. Thanksgiving was the worst.
Christmas is the worst. Yes.
Because there's just everybody has, and me as a person now looking back at it, I mean, I understand it's Thanksgiving. You're gonna have a little bit extra trash, but when you times that by 250, 300 stops a day, if not more,
More people at the house, more family,
exactly,
more trash.
So that we would run super heavy on those days, and the state patrol would know that for sure.
Yep. Yeah, you love your holidays off, but the next day you go back to work, you're like, man, I'm gonna work my ass off today.
Yeah, I remember we got Thanksgiving Day off, Christmas Day off, and New Year's Day off for a while, and that was it.
Yep.
Then we started slowly getting
And
more
you
and more
actually
holidays.
started picking up Saturdays.
I picked up Saturdays up at the transfer station. So if people didn't want to pay for a service, they could come down to our transfer station and get rid of their trash. And we would charge per bag or per truckload or whatever. But yeah, I was picking up Saturdays there for a while too, and then I did every other Saturdays. And then once I got my motorcycle, I remember Pap telling me that was the only thing bad about him. Used to work Saturdays. He give it up and then give it to me. I just thought, you know what? He's 100% right. If you want to do something on a Saturday, now granted, you only work for 3-4 hours.
But still, that's 3-4 hours you lost out of your weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, the extra money was nice, but then at the same time, I was like, you know what? I need to risk versus reward here, and am I having more time over the weekends to ride the bike and do the things that I want to do? And eventually, it just got to me, and I told the boss, I said, you know what? I just can't do Saturdays anymore. I'll do a couple more, but I have to find somebody to take my spot.
Yep. Yep. I always remember, you know, going home when we both worked the same job, and I'd always make fun of Clayton because he'd got to get up early in the morning. I'd say, "Well, I'm gonna sleep in.
Yep.
Let me know if you need some breakfast."
Yeah, but it was a good time. I did like it, but I left that job and went to corrections just because the insurance was okay. I was still on my mom's insurance, which I still am now, but insurance was okay. Benefits weren't all that great. Uh, Not really a big 401k, no big retirements. It just I needed something that I could build on. When I found out that this corrections job that I wanted was hiring, I thought, you know what, this is just a good opportunity for me to switch up and do something a little different. And that's how I got into corrections. One of my fans messaged me and asked if I had any background or anything like that in corrections before I started. Absolutely not. Dad worked at the same place that I did for a while and have no experience with corrections before I went in, but I applied. They taught me everything I needed to know, and here I am with almost my year in now. It's hard to believe it's been a year now.
Yeah, and that's where me and you differ. Me and you both started at the same place for our first jobs, and you worked at Bucky's for what?
A while.
A
Yeah, I
while.
was through high school, took off, went to college, came back from college, needed a job, jumped back on the trash truck for a little while, got my CDLs, just because I knew it's a steady job.
Yeah.
There was never a day they didn't need a trash guy.
Yeah. And I mean that was my thing too. I can I never know what I want to do. It changes weekly. Yeah, I've had multiple jobs. And like I said, I'm only 20 years old. I've probably worked more jobs than a lot of people have.
You've worked way more than I have.
Yeah. And it's good and bad, you know. Now granted, a lot of people say, "Well, you can't really stick with the job." No, I'm just getting my foot out there.
Right. You're
I'm
trying to find
trying things out.
and you finally did. I'm glad you got this job because it is what you went to school for.
Yes, I went to school for welding. Um, I was never the type of person to sit in a classroom and do bookwork. I've always been hands on, and welding was just one of those things where it fascinated me. So I went to school for it, took it for 2 years, got certified, and I got out of high school and I just jumped on the first job I got offered, which was the disposal company.
Yeah, because we needed guys.
Yeah, and after I started working there for a while, I'm like, man, why did I waste my time going to school for something I'm not even gonna do?
You're telling me I went to college for 2 years and now I work corrections.
Exactly, but you never know. It could change by the end of this week, and you just never know.
Yeah.
I'm in this. I was in the same shoes. I you know I got out of high school, and I'm thinking, man, I'll never go back to welding, and look where I'm at. I'm in a big fab shop making pipe and houses, not really houses, but these big vessels for $1 million company pipeline.
Which, like I said, I'm glad you're into now. It is kind of difficult when you don't stay with a job because then it does feel like you have commitment issues. But then at the same time, like you said, you're young, you're trying to get your feelers out and find what works best for you. You and Stevens, actually, you guys didn't work for the same company, but Stevens did the same thing you did, was over the road repair for a little while.
Yes.
You worked for a road service company.
Yep.
I don't want to keep dropping names because I'm really
Yeah.
bad about dropping names.
No, I understand. Um, yeah, me and Steven do have a lot, you know, and with
Are
it,
you the same way as Stevens? I think you are in the same way that him and I were talking. He doesn't like adjustable crescent wrenches. because it's cheating for him. He would rather reach up under there, feel the nut size, feel the bolt size, and tell you what you think it is.
Now, granted, when I first started turning wrenches, I was that way. A crescent wrench was your best friend, but they don't get the same. You can ask Stevens this. A lot of people don't know because they don't mechanic like we do. You know,
They
they
don't
think
turn wrenches like like we do.
no. You get a half-inch wrench and a half-inch bolt. That's what that's for. It's made to turn that half-inch bolt. You get a crescent wrench, it's not made to fit that half-inch bolt. So it just don't do the same. I'd rather
You
get
get
up.
the satisfaction of guessing what it is.
I don't guess. I already know.
You and Stevens both.
Yeah.
I'm not that way at all.
I've physically trained myself, and after work, I'll go home and I'll think, why did I feel that bolt for 10 minutes and run back and forth to my toolbox for 4 different wrenches and not know what it was? So then I'd go home and I'd get pissed off and I'd get in my home toolbox and I'd find the bolt and I would feel it. I'd feel the wrench. I'd feel the bolt and I'd say, okay, that's a half-inch bolt. And it trained me. And I've always, I can do I can go feel any bolt now and pretty much know what it is.
That's crazy. I mean, but it's crazy what the human mind can do too. What's the word I'm looking for here? Training yourself, muscle memory.
Yes.
Muscle memory is a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's like anything, muscle memory that you're. Even I went down. I had a couple days off. I just switched my days to Thursday, Friday, and wanted to do something for me. I haven't done anything for me in a while other than ride the bike. But just decided I was going to ride the bike out to an indoor shooting range, go and blow off some steam, shoot some rounds and stuff like that. But like I said, it's muscle memory. I got in the range and I had my holster on, and it's muscle memory to draw, put both hands on the gun, point it, extend your arms, and I'm already looking down the sights. It's muscle memory. If you get a jam, you automatically know this is what I got to do, and boom, 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 and it happens. But it's just training your brain to know, hey, something's not right. Now what do I do?
Yeah. And I was the same way. I had always I'm a big duck hunter, duck and goose. And my first ever shotgun was a 20 gauge pump 870 Express. Loved that gun. And then I had shot with it. God, I wore that gun out. But I had finally got into semi-automatic, and I had literally muscle memoried myself for when I pull that trigger to automatically my hand just falls off the
Off the pump to
off the
jack the
pump
next shell
to
in.
jack the next shell. So I remember me and Danny was duck hunting, and I was just trying out my brand new 12 gauge. It's not a Benelli. It was I can't remember what it was now. It's been so long ago. But uh, shot, and I remember just yanking on that freaking pump, trying to yank it back, and my shell's already loaded in there for me. And Danny's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, duh." And next thing I know, another flock comes over. I do the same freaking thing. I'm like, I have got to go shoot this gun so I can get used to it. It's just like you said, muscle memory. It fucks with you.
Yeah, yeah, because you get used to doing one thing and then you change it, and it's just 100% the opposite.
Yep. And coming back to the mechanic side, you know, a brake job. I've done brakes 1,000 times or tires, and I was like, man, maybe I'll try something different to speed this up a little bit. And then I'm realizing I'm sitting there for 15 minutes when I could have a tire or brake done in 5 minutes.
Right.
It's that muscle memory.
I had a matter of fact, I'll even tell you who it was. Dad messaged me. I just was at a barber shop not long ago, and I got lined up. I got my beard trimmed up and got my head shaved professionally, just to try it out once. Stevens was telling me, "Well, I thought you liked shaving your head. I thought it was calming for you." And I said, "It is," but I said I just wanted to professionally get a straight razor done, and I did. And my dad had called me after he listened to an episode, and he come up with a question that I really want to know. Um, some from you, and then I'll ask Stevens when him and I do the next podcast if I can remember it. Um, where I work at, we have what we call SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, as to what we're supposed to do when things out of our control happen that put us in a tight situation. So Dad was asking me, he said, "Why don't you tell people what do you do if you're in an uncomfortable situation? What does your mind do? And then what do you physically do?" So let me put you in a unique situation. You get invited out to a party with some friends. Um, you go, you don't know who's going to be there, but you wind up showing up and there's somebody there that you just cannot stand being around. It's just something out of your control, but you can't. I guess my question is, how do you handle stressful situations? When you walk in and you immediately assess the situation and realize that this is uncomfortable for me. What's your next step? What do you do?
So I look at it different ways. Being uncomfortable and being stressed are two different things in my book. Um, if, like you said before, if I show up to a party and somebody's there that I completely, absolutely
Now, I'm
despise
not.
them,
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying this is just somebody like, oh, I'm not really a fan of this, but this is a person like I literally cannot
yeah.
stand there and look at your face
Oh,
because it
I'm
bothers me.
thinking of that person right now. I already
I know a
know
lot
who
of
it
people
is.
are when I say that thing.
But if I show up to a party, not knowing who's going to be there, and I see this person, I'll be cool as hell. I Granted, I won't say a word to you because I know we already got beef. But if you come up to me and start shit, I'm gonna tell you how it is, and if things go the way they do, it's gonna happen.
So, in a broad summary, if you the way you would handle a situation like that is you would
I'd let it flow.
just let it flow.
I'd let it flow. See how it goes.
And what would you do to handle that situation? You're saying you would just go with the flow of things, and then if things came up that did put you in a stressful situation, changing from uncomfortable to stressful, then you would just right then and there handle it. This is how it's going to be.
I'd do my best, and once I got to my point, round leave.
So, mine's kind of the same way, but I'm going to use just a little bit of different words. The first thing I would do, and it's just what I've been trained to do, and I told my dad when he asked me this question, I said, the first thing you have to do is assess the situation. Look at it and say, okay, I acknowledge that this person is here. I acknowledge this is what the problem is that I am uncomfortable with. Once I've acknowledged that, I will then decide, okay, am I going to fight or flight this? And what does it mean for me? Now, fight necessarily doesn't mean me swinging on it.
Now I'm just gonna stop
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
just before this runs out of my brain. I have been in that situation. It don't matter. I'm not saying that you're wrong, or I'm not saying this is useless, but it don't matter how much training you go through and how much time you put in. Your brain works a magnificent way. You get pissed off.
Well, let's not put you in a pissed off situation. Let's put you in a work situation. Let's say you're welding on something and something breaks or something just unexplainable happens and you're in this now. I guess that's kind of the point that I'm trying to get into. Not that a situation would piss you off, but not to cut you back off, but I assess the situation and find out am I going to fight this or am I going to move away from it and figure out something to do with it as I'm backing up. If I decide to leave the situation, no big. Ooh, that was almost alcohol abuse. Let me finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I kind of see what you're saying.
But you assess that situation, you find out what you're going to do with it. If you decide to fly from it, absolutely, that's not a bad reaction. Your body's naturally made to do that. Your body is aware that that situation is there, and your body 9 times out of 10 will tell you this isn't a good situation. I need to be away from. If you're going to fight that situation, not swinging hands, but just like you said, I'm going to acknowledge that this problem's there, and I'm going to go with the flow of things. I'm never going to leave this person's never going to leave my sight. And if they do, I mean, it's not a huge problem, but I'm eventually going to regain control. You were talking about having to have control of a situation. When I'm in a situation like that, that is what I want. I want to be able in control of the situation. If I can't be, then that happens. But I will fall back on what my training has taught me to do, which is the same thing. You go with it. You naturally just let your body do what it's taught to do. And then if things progress, then that's when you step it up. But I'm never going to. They tell us at our work, if somebody that you're dealing with is angry, upset, whatever, and they're coming out on a scale of 9 out of 10, they're already pissed off. They're up here. You come into that situation at a 2, calm, cool, calm, collected, and you deal with that because the person that you're dealing with, if they're already at a 9, they can only go to a 10. You're at a 2, you can go to a 10. There's a huge difference there. That person will see you went from a 2 to a 10, see that change in progression. You won't see much of a change because there's not much left for them to change to. That's just one of the things I was talking about. And I think it's more of a correction standpoint question, but I just wanted to ask you to kind of see what an outsider's perspective, not having standard operating procedures that you would have to follow in situations like that. But
Yeah.
I'll ask Stevens because he's on a correction side. But things happen at work a lot. You know, if I do an 8-hour day and never once get put in an uncomfortable position, I've probably done my job wrong. I was probably avoiding things that I shouldn't have been avoiding.
Yeah. And see, that's the difference between me and you is I'm working and something goes wrong. I just walk away from it, think about it for a little bit, say, all right, well,
Yeah, I can't really.
this is how I'm gonna fix
I
this.
can't really walk away from the situation once I'm in it.
But also, at my job, somebody gets mouthy with me, they're gonna have a freaking hammer or something thrown at them because our foreman don't give two fucks.
Yeah,
He'll
it's
be like, I want to watch you two fight.
definitely different in my
Yeah.
perspective. We deal with a lot of people at one time, and that's just it's part of the job description that we're in. That's why Stevens and I took that crisis intervention training, and that's where we learned. If somebody's at a 9 or if they're at an 8, they're already hyper aware of the situation and everything. You come in at a 2, try to bring them down to your level. That way you can actually engage in a conversation because you cannot engage with anybody that's already at a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
They're going off the handle. There's no talking with that person. And that doesn't go with just corrections. It goes with anybody. If your family member, if your spouse, if your sibling, if you come to me and you are extremely pissed off, you're flying off the handle, there is absolutely no point in me talking to you at that point.
Yeah.
You're already pissed off. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to change your mind. So
Yep.
I have to bring you down to my level first, calm you down, get you down close to where I'm at. You don't have to be at a 2 like me, but get you off that high pedestal. Then let's talk and figure this out.
Yep.
But like I said, it would be different from a correction standpoint to just any other person's standpoint. So I'll get Steven's input on that on the next episode that him and I do, and we'll go from there. All right, back in black. Had to take a urination break and a nicotine refresher break while I let the dogs out.
Yeah, had to let the new puppy out.
Yes. Shelby didn't go outside.
You didn't?
No, I just let Kitty Bug out.
Oh.
You want to let her out?
Nah, I'd be all right.
Okay. But yeah, we were talking about where we were going to go and how we were going to transition next, and I told Camden that I wanted to talk next about how important it is to get out of that work rut that a lot of people get put into. Before I had Monday, Tuesdays off, and Camden just switching to Friday, Saturdays, and me switching now to Thursday, Fridays. We have a day in the week that we're actually able to hang out and do some things. And I want to talk about the importance of getting out of that work rut, like I was talking about. You go into work, you put in your 8, or you put in your position a 10 or 12. You get into that work rut, and that's how you live your life. You're up at the same times, you're doing the same things, you're in that routine, and it's hard to get out of. But once you finally have your days off, it is extremely important, I think, to spend time with your friends and family, and how important it is to take those 2 days or however many days off you have to hit that reset button. And like for me, that reset button Thursday, I went out to the range and shot. That was a great reset button for me. Didn't do anything around the house, nothing needed done. I got caught up on what I needed to throughout the week. Had some me time, and I blew off some steam out at the range. So, and I know for you, you like riding your 4-wheelers on your day off, hanging out with your friends. But I texted Stevens Wednesday. I had Wednesday off too. I took it off for a vacation day. Set me up for a 3-day weekend. I was trying to get a hold of him to see if he wanted to go to the bowling alley or just golf or something, just to get out of that work rut that we always get stuck in. And I would definitely like to go and hang out with you at another golf course. It's been forever since I've been golfing, but just to get out and go do something other than just sit around the house.
Yeah. And that's my problem too with me working third shift is I'm on night. I'm stuck on my night schedule. I get home, like Clayton said, 5:30 in the morning, and I'm asleep until 3. 3 in the afternoon when everybody's just now getting off work.
Right.
And come my weekend, I normally stay awake. It'll be at 5:30 in the morning when I get off work, and my buddy's wanting to ride. I'm like, all right, I'll get home, I'll load up, and I won't even sleep. I'll just go straight there. We'll ride for a little bit, and you know, they'll go get something to eat, and I'll take a little cat nap, and then we'll get back to riding.
Even
But
me today, it's hard to get back on that schedule working second shift because I took 2 naps today,
yeah,
and I'm still like, even now, it's only what, it's 11 o'clock now, and I'm tired already.
yeah,
It's just hard to get out of those
and
routines. But
that's my problem. I'm not even tired.
right
I'm still on my nights.
now, granted, we did get up super early. We got up early this morning to come down, and
You
we come
did,
down to our mom's. Yeah, I got up early. You stayed up late. Um, come down to our mom's for the weekend to spend time with her because I just haven't had time to come up and spend time with my mom and staying the night up here. But we were hanging out up here, and she got a new cricket machine. So just designing some shirts for work and some support gear for the club, and spend some time with mom and hanging out up here, and just getting to spend quality time with you too. It's been nice.
yeah, yeah. We don't get to spend much time together anymore,
But
and
that's just a part of growing up
yeah,
and doing your own thing.
you can't take things for granted anymore. We used to work together back in the day. Now we never get to see each other.
Right. Yeah, alternating shifts and everything like that. It makes it hard for sure. But we try to take advantage of that time that we have,
But yeah, spending time with your family is very important.
and friends too.
You have,
Not only your
yeah,
friends too,
friends, family. You have to make time for it.
and not only that, but it helps you get out of that work rut. When you're hanging out with your friends that you don't get to see in work, even with Stevens and I, we hang out outside of work because we don't get to see each other much in work, but just hanging out with him. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up with you too. How difficult would it be for you to come home and tell me what you did at work? Me not understanding anything about welding.
I
It would be
mean,
difficult because I
yeah,
don't have any background on it. So you would get what I'm saying is like you having your Boy Scout meeting with your dude at work. You guys can have a 2-minute conversation and you can both understand exactly what happened at work.
yeah,
You would have to catch me up on an hour of shit to
yeah,
explain to me. So it's easy to spend time with people that you work with too, your coworkers. It's good to hang out with them. They become just as much family as your blood family does sometimes.
yeah. Like I remember you talking about it to
Stevens.
Stevens at night. You guys have your Boy Scout meeting, and you could tell him something, and within 5 minutes, he already knows what you're talking about. I do the same thing with my buddy, um, David. You know, and I get to we get done working, and of course, me and him work together. Me and him rolling pipe, building houses together, and we get back to our trucks, and we're like, "Damn, this is what happened tonight." And if I would go home and tell you that, I could tell something to David like that, and then within 5 minutes, he'd understand,
Yeah,
know how stressful it is. When I come to you, tell you about it, you have no clue.
exactly.
You wouldn't think that didn't sound too stressful, but
So what are some things going forward that you would want to do hanging out on our days off? I think golfing would kind of be hard because we're getting close to the end of summer
well,
here and
every
wrapping up
time
the
I ask
fall.
you to go golfing, back in the summer, oh, I don't want to go golfing.
It's not the funnest thing in the world for me to do because I'm not that good. But when I went to the driving range, I did great. So I'm kind of wanting to take my skills out to the driving range, see if I can transfer those onto the golf course. Probably not, but
Yeah, I don't know. We need to find something. I know you don't really like going out to bars
yeah,
and
I'm not a
drinking.
bar scene guy.
You know, I I've been around bars a lot.
I'm not. I mean, I know you like to shoot pool. You used to go to pool halls a lot.
I still
That could be
do.
something we could do. Is go down to the pool hall down in West Virginia and shoot pool
Yeah, I took you down there one time. What, you've only been there what,
once.
once?
Yep.
Once? You loved it.
It was fun. It was different. I'm not a big pool player and I'm not very good at it. You beat me every time, but
Yeah. Good. I mean, good scenery. It's something to do.
yeah,
Something to get out and go do something, you know. But yeah, it's just one of my hobbies. I love playing pool, and I'm not the world's best at it, but I'm good enough to know what I'm doing. I'm good enough to compete.
right.
It's something I enjoy. Something to get out and do. Something, maybe me and you need to get into it.
Yeah, we need to find a hobby that we can do together. And if it turns into golfing, so be it. We're running short on time, but I mean, we still have a couple months, few months left at least.
Tell you what, though, playing pool's a hell of a lot cheaper than it is going out
Yeah, you ain't
golfing,
shitting.
though.
Golfing's expensive. I like going down to shooting ranges, but that's getting expensive with the price of ammo and
Yep.
range costs and stuff like that. It's just, it's hard to find. If you want to go out and do something, it's hard to not spend money and do something.
Yeah.
I mean, you can absolutely, we could, but it is what it is.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could. I mean, I'm sure we could. I see a lot of YouTubers doing it. We need to get another microphone and get me, you, and Steven
That'd be
on
fun.
one. That would be awesome.
I would
Because
need
I'm
another
not.
headphone splitter for sure. But
Oh yeah, but I'm not. I've only met Stevens one time, and
when did you? Oh yeah, well, he come back
when you
from
guys
training
got
that day.
when you guys got done from training, and that's when I met him, and me and him already had a lot in common.
Yeah. That's what I like about Stevens. He's such a relatable dude. He's a lot like who I am as a person.
Yeah,
So we click a lot. Now his kids are a lot younger than you. They're still in school and
yeah,
stuff like that. But his wife is extremely nice. Her and Kristen get along really well.
yeah.
Stevens and Kristen even I think get along really well too. I'd like to go back to the water park with them next year. We had a blast up there that time when we went, man. It was fun.
I'd like to go to the water park too, but then again, I'm not third wheeling.
Yeah,
I ain't
I
got
don't blame you.
I ain't got no lady.
That would be a Friday thing we could do.
Me and you go to the water park.
Go to the water park for the day.
See, though, that's the thing. We only have one water park up here,
That's worth anything.
but I've been to that water park a dozen times.
It's a lot of fun though.
It's fun.
Drinking down there is expensive. Let me tell you
Oh
what.
my goodness.
Jesus.
I know.
$12 for a domestic beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's expensive. But that's how they get their money.
Oh yeah.
We had a
They're
blast when we
raking it
went.
in. Yeah, me and Cody, we had a blast when we went down. Of course, we got a hotel down there too, but
Yeah, with Friday being my day off, Thursday being your day off, it would be hard to make that work.
yeah, me
Because I would
having
have
to
to
go
be back.
back Sunday
Yeah.
night. Yeah.
No, I'd have to go back
No,
Saturday on second shift.
I'd have to go back Sunday night.
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely need to do something and hang out together. I used to
yeah.
love bowling a lot, but the bowling alley in Cambridge being closed, trying to find a bowling alley around here worth anything.
Yeah, I tell you what though, my God, going bowling, then the next morning you wake up, dear
Your
Lord,
arm is sore.
arms, legs, and
It's a workout.
I shouldn't be saying that. I'm not even that old, and I'm sore.
Now, when you came back from Zimbabwe Bay, I'm sure you weren't sore, but Stevens and I were talking about this, and you're not getting to that age quite yet. I just hit your mic stand.
What the fuck?
You're probably not getting that age quite yet, but Stevens and I were talking, or maybe it wasn't Stevens. I think it was me and Kristen talking about slip and slides, homemade slip and slides.
Oh, dude,
and your body just aches.
this is some of the most fun you can ever do. I actually talked to a buddy of mine. I said, dude, you have the perfect yard to do one. And he's like, let me go to the oil field. He's like, I'll go get a freaking brine water um, plastic pad because those are like 200, 400 foot long and they're thick, heavy duty, clear plastic. And I said, let's do it. Let's throw a freaking banger. Let's just make a slip and slide, put a flip cup table down there at the bottom or something.
Oh man, my body just aches talking about it. I'm not
But
even that old yet, but
I tell you what, man, I may be young, but every morning I roll out of bed and I am sore from the next night or last night. It what I do. I've worked a lot of jobs, a lot of hard putting on the body. I still ache when I get up. It's gonna hurt me in the end, but
that's one thing I can always say. You and I have always had labor intensive
oh yeah,
jobs. I switched to this correction job, but it's not been so labor intensive, and it's definitely been nice.
that's my thing.
But I'm dealing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Instead of being physically exhausting, it's mentally exhausting for sure.
Yeah. Now, granted, there are some days where I'm thinking, man, it'd be nice to sit behind a computer all day, but I've always done hard labor.
Yeah.
I always will, probably.
But and again, it just comes to the way you're raised too. I mean, if you can find a good paying job that you can utilize your skills and do something like that, by all means, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot less hard on your body.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely a change. It was definitely a change for me.
Yeah.
But
you enjoy what you're doing, somewhat.
yeah, I mean, everybody says they want to find a job that you can retire from, and I don't. This might be a job I retire from. I don't know, but it's not a job that I enjoy at all.
You need to get out there. You need to explore. You need to Find what you really like.
I like construction, but I'm not a, I was hard labor worker, but at the same time, if I don't have to be out on a roof in the summertime, what's the point in being out on a roof in the summertime if I don't have to be making less money than what I'm making, less benefits? I've got a really good job lined up.
Yeah.
I've got it made. Just riding out my time now is the hardest part.
And I'm gonna tell you what all these old guys tell me when I'm at work, because I work with a lot of old guys that have put their time in. You're young. You will find something different. You're gonna have a lot of jobs. You know, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Look at me. I've been through. Couldn't even tell you how many jobs I've worked, Clay. I worked a lot, and you know that.
Yeah, I think I could probably count the jobs that I've had on one hand.
Yeah, I I couldn't even tell you. I'd have to sit down and think and write it down on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
and there'd still be jobs that I wouldn't know.
But like you said, it's finding your niche. It's finding what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult sometimes.
Mhm.
All right, so Cam and I decided we're just going to wrap this up. We were trying to sit back and think if there's anything else we wanted to cover, and we're just definitely running on fumes tonight because I know I've got to go back to work tomorrow. And that's blues. I mean, I enjoyed my 3-day weekend, but I got to get back tomorrow. And unfortunately for me, but fortunate for you, you still got another day off to go.
Yep.
So you enjoy your day off tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much again for listening. Keep those questions coming in. You can find me on my link tree. You can find me on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. Also listen on Spotify. Um, find me out on my Facebook page. Shoot me a message. Like I said, if there's any questions you guys have, any comments, concerns, if you guys have topics for previous episodes, I know that I say this every episode, but I like to wrap up with it a little bit. But Kim, thanks again for jumping in on with me. I know you were kind of leery about it at first, and Stevens was too. He said that he's not much of a people person. Was afraid that he would get caught up and hung up. But now I think that you see it. It's just me and you having a conversation.
Oh yeah, it's a good time, and I was gonna tell you guys, don't worry, I'll be back. It we just when me and Clayton gotta find time. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Clayton, he has been doing very well of finding time for his podcast. He's got a schedule made out now, so he's doing good. Um,
I'm
but
glad that I've been able to drop episodes weekly now versus bi-weekly because
yes,
it gives me something to do to get me up out of that work rut.
yeah, and I feel like this is something I can start doing. So yeah, you guys, you'll definitely be seeing more of me or hearing more of me. I'm trying to convince Clayton right now to. I know it's gonna suck, and I will even help, but we are trying to, or well, we're pondering the idea right now of maybe starting a YouTube channel and getting a camera, and so you guys can see what we look like, and maybe try and get some more viewers.
I I just know the editing that goes into just the audio,
Oh yeah,
and I know it'd be difficult. But I'm not saying that's out of the cards. It's definitely something I've thought about. Maybe I might start a YouTube channel just to plug the audio,
see where things go.
see where things go with the audio, and then if there's a huge request for doing a video podcast, then maybe that's something we'll do in the future. I don't know, but
But
everything's up in the air right now. I can go a bunch of different avenues with this. That's what I like so much about it.
y'all
I don't
just
have to stick with one
yeah,
avenue to take.
y'all just let us know what y'all want to see.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely take those into consideration. If you guys want to definitely see a video podcast, that'll definitely put me in the game of getting into it. But I think this is working good for me now.
Yep.
But once again, thanks again, Cam. I really appreciate you. Guys, don't be afraid to reach out. Once again, appreciate all the listeners that are out there. You guys are amazing. You guys are what keep this podcast going. So don't stop what you're doing. Keep listening to the episodes. Make sure you turn those notifications on so you get notified when these episodes drop. Still dropping on Wednesdays for right now.
And finish your beer.
Yes, I finished mine a little bit ago, but
Oh.
I'll let you finish yours. But just keep an eye out. Keep those notifications on and keep listening. I'll let you know if the episodes are going to change when they drop. Yeah, you mind throwing mine in there too?
I
I don't
got
have to carry mine out in the kitchen. Thanks.
Welcome.
Cam, I'll let you do the sign off. Put your face up to the mic and say "Stay wobbled."
No. I'm just kidding. Stay wobbled.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you next time.